Hi, I'm Crystal.
And I'm Neoshia, and you're listening to the Rom-Com Detectives.
Welcome to Rom-Com Detectives, episode 74, Death She Grows Near. Today, Neoshia and I will be talking about Castle Season 2, Episode 7, Famous Last Words.
This episode originally aired on November 2nd, 2009. It was written by Jose Molina and directed by Rob Bowman.
Case briefing. The victim in this one was Haley Blue. And I don't know about you, but this is a pretty memorable episode for me just because of the way the colors at her crime scene and just the way her body is staged.
Mm-hmm.
And so whenever this one comes up, like, oh, it's the Haley Blue episode.
Yeah, and it's not just memorable, I think, because of the staging of the scene, but also just it's a good story.
Yeah,
Like, I find it to be a good story.
yeah. And I think we had mentioned that in the last episode we did that the sister of the victim was wearing a shirt for the blue pill, right?
Mm-hmm.
We had mentioned this coming up. I didn't realize it was coming up next. So, cause of death, her neck was snapped. The killer in this one was her producer, Ian Bush.
Motive to hide sexual assault.
Guest stars. There was Anne Ramsey. She played Brie Bush. And I don't know about you, but she's so familiar looking. But I looked through her whole IMDb, and there's nothing that really stood out to me. But she was on Mad About You, but I didn't watch that show. So, and then she was in A League of Their Own. But I don't. I've seen that movie a couple of times, but I don't have like strong memories of it. So I don't know if it's that one either. And then she was in Dexter, which I've seen, but I don't know. But she has a very mom kind of vibe to her. I don't know.
Yeah, so I actually did recognize her. And it was one of those like I recognized her and couldn't place her. And looking at our guest stars list, I see A League of Their Own, and I immediately know who she was on A League of Their Own because
Okay,
I love
okay.
that movie. It's one of my all-time favorite movies. But she's the one that teaches the girl how to read because there's a girl who can't read her name, and she can't find her name on the list of to see if she made the team. And so she's the person who teaches her how to read.
Okay.
Yeah,
She adds that to our watch list.
we should. And then I'll just be there talking about all the facts of the movie.
There was Erin Foster. She played Sky Blue. She was on the OC. She's had guest appearances on House, CSI, and Roswell. There was Bernardo De Paula. He played Frankie. He's from Rescue Me and Shameless, and he does a lot of voice acting. The killer was played by Robert Curtis Brown. He's from Station 19, The Handmaid's Tale. He was on an episode of Lucifer too, but I don't really remember who he was on Lucifer. I think I looked up the episode and it was everything Pierce can do, I can do better, but it's not one of my favorite episodes, so I don't remember who he was.
With him, I was like looking at him the whole time and I was like, is this Sean Pertwee in English? Like, or an American? Not English, because he is English. But I was like, is this Sean Pertwee in American? Because he really resembles Sean Pertwee a lot. He is an English actor. He's been in, I hope he's English. I hope I don't get in trouble for this. I hope he's English. I'm pretty sure he's English. But he's been in so many different things. Like you would recognize him if you saw him. He was in like, actually, I think he might have been in an episode of Castle already. But he's like one of those character actors. He had a role in Gotham. He is the son of John Pertwee, who played the third Doctor in Doctor Who. So, I mean, he's done a lot of different work. And then obviously his dad was also an actor.
And then last but not least, there's the skeevy producer, John McGinnis, played by Clayton Roner. And when he came on, I was like, oh my god, this guy. He was the Rain King on The X-Files, also a skeevy character. And he was the killer on Blood Brothers in season 1 of The Mentalist. Also a skeevy character. So this seems to be like
I mean, some
his
people just have the
niche.
face, right? Like they have the I am skeevy or I am the feds, right? Like so you see the same people playing the cops that you see or it's kind of how the same people will play cops, and then same people play skeevy characters. Have the face, man.
But yeah, he's like very recognizable to me. So, all right, let's get to the episode breakdown. So it starts with Castle. Okay, so Castle's dancing to Billy Idol's "Dancing with Myself," and I was just like, wow, they must have had a really good songwrites budget on this show because Billy Idol, wow.
Yeah, but for a musical episode, this one doesn't have a ton of like licensed music, I don't think, or at least
Mhm.
licensed popular songs. So maybe that's where they use their budget.
So he's dancing around until he notices Alexis standing there and she looks really upset. And he asks what's wrong. And she says they're saying that she's dead. And it turns out to be Haley Blue, the singer in Alexis's favorite band. And she says that she was found dead in an alley in Chelsea. And he tries to tell her, well, if that was true, then Becky would have called. And right on cue, Beckett calls. And
Yep.
they look really worried. So he goes down and oh, I have to say, I found this scene actually really disturbing. Just the way, like, I kept thinking, like, oh my god, did they make that poor actress hang upside down for a long time for all those takes, or was it like a really good fake body or something? And plus, the way that the lipstick was all over her lips, I just found it very, very disturbing.
Yeah, and I wonder like if they could just take, and I don't know like how they would do this, but I wonder too if they were just able to get in there and take some shots of her hanging upside down and then
Yeah,
like be done with it, because like given modern technology, you can piece together scenes now, and so
yeah.
I doubt they made her hang there the whole time that they were filming all the surrounding scenes.
Yeah. So maybe they like the front shots, they just had her go upside down real quick. Filmed her for a few seconds and then the rest of it was like a mannequin or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she's hanging upside down from a fire escape, right? And it's kind of brutal. Her neck is bruised and broken. Perlmutter says that that's how she that his preliminary is that she died of a broken neck. And he found no ID on her, but Castle identifies her as Haley Blue because he says he took Alexis to her concert last year. And she's got like red lipstick smeared all over her lips. She's hanging upside down. Her leg is taped to the fire escape with like duct tape or something. So
Hmm.
yeah. And then Beckett can hear a song playing because she's got earbuds in her ears too. So she takes the iPod off and she notes that it's a song called "Here Kitty Kitty" and it's by her band, the Blue Pill. And so they go to the station. And Montgomery says that somebody who's very persistent, he calls her a very persistent citizen, is waiting for them. And it's Alexis, even though she's supposed to be at school.
Yeah, she says she has study hall first period, and I've always wondered, like, at what school do they let kids just leave during study hall? I never had one of those.
I'm assuming she just didn't go because it's first period, so she's going to go late.
Okay, okay.
But also, I'm assuming that rich kids live by a different set of rules.
I guess.
But he confirms that Haley is dead, and she asks, "Oh, was it the drugs?" And so she explains to Beckett. And I like that Alexis's fandom allows her to contribute a lot to the case here because these are things that I think diehard fans would know that maybe an investigator would have to dig pretty deep for. They'd have to read a ton of back like details. I mean, they'll have to do that anyway. But I like that she's able to just, she's got all this knowledge at her disposal, like that she can just tell them and they can go confirm it, kind of thing, instead of like the other way around.
Mhm.
So she tells Beckett that Haley was in rehab last year, and then Espo comes and updates them. Ryan comes and updates them and tells him to check out the music video for Here Kitty Kitty, and it shows Haley hanging upside down from a fire escape, just like in the scene. And so Alexis tells him that Haley wrote that song about a fan who was stalking her. And part of the lyrics include 50 feet or less. So they assume that means that she filed a restraining order against the guy. So Esposito checks the system. This is my favorite scene from the episode because Espo says that the stalker broke into her apartment and showed up in court and called her, and he stops when he sees Alexis and he says, "Bitch." Just the way that it plays out is so funny. And just
Espo's like,
Cass's,
there's a child in this room.
and it's like the look on Esposito's face. He's like, "Wait, how old is she?" And it's like his brain short circuits. Castle has to tell him she could spell. And like I think Ryan makes a remark too, right? He's probably better than you. But he sends Alexis off to school and then turns to see Beckett smiling at him. She says she's so used to seeing him acting like a 12-year-old that it's refreshing to see him acting like a father.
Yeah, because this is also the same scene where they have the little conversation about parental controls, and I found that to be hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
Um, where it's like where Castle tells Alexis he's gonna have to revisit her parental controls, and she's like, "Please, I set your parental controls." He wants to get them reset, and she's like, "Nope."
So, knowing that she's in rehab, she calls like the most likely rehab center that the celebrities go to, and then that takes them to the Bushes, her record producers, who's I guess a married couple. But they apparently paid for her rehab because they consider her like family. And after her rehab, she stayed with them and they talk. The guy Ian talks about how she was so scared of her stalker that she would wake up screaming. And thinking back to like the end of the episode, like I wonder if he was actually telling the truth about that, but she was actually having nightmares about him instead.
Also, how would he know that she was having these nightmares?
Yeah. But they explained that she had gone missing the previous week and they thought that she was back on drugs because she had taken all her things. And like the lady, Bree seemed to think that she was just taking anything that she could sell.
Yeah, I mean, and that's I guess pretty common for someone who is on drugs, but like I don't know. I think that's just also a commentary on how we write off people who are drug users
Yeah.
because we're like, oh, if they went missing, they clearly must have just gone and went back on drugs and it's not something else.
So do you think Blue was their real last name?
No,
It's just like a stage name?
I think so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I was just thinking, wow, if your last name is Blue and you name your kid Sky.
Sky blue.
But they mentioned that Sky is also a drug addict and that as soon as Haley got out of rehab, she wanted to save her sister. And that's when Ryan and Esposito call and they tell them that the stalker guy, Frankie, he's on the run. He's taking the bus to run away. So they pull over this bus, like they like full on chase scene and they storm onto the bus with guns. And I was just like, why would they do it like that? Is it just for
Yeah,
dramatic effect? Because I mean, if there's someone violent on the bus, I would think that the standard procedure is to get everyone to get off the bus. And then presumably the person they're looking for would either come off the bus and they can apprehend them there, or they'll stay on the bus and try to hide. Because I feel
right.
like there's so many people at risk, and you're gonna go on with guns and
Yeah, and I know like you and Karen have talked about this quite a bit with like the mentalist, but like it's one of those things where she's been murdered already and that's bad, but like there's no imminent threat. So
yeah,
in terms of like yes, this guy's trying to run, quote unquote run, but like there's no imminent threat of him killing anyone else that we know of right now.
yeah,
And so, like, by you going in there guns a-blazing, like, you're creating a more dangerous situation than by just confirming he's on the bus, following the bus, and waiting until he gets off the bus.
yeah.
Or just simply saying everyone has to get off the bus.
Yeah, just there were just
Yeah.
so many other better options, I thought. I mean, this is a TV show, so yeah, they got to do things for dramatic effect. But I think in reality, I don't think that they would have done that. That would have been really irresponsible because I feel like that could have easily turned into like some kind of like bus massacre, because they don't know this guy. They don't know how unhinged he is, and it's full of hostages, basically.
Right.
You got to
Right.
get them away from him, right? So Yeah, I was shaking my head at that. And I thought it was weird that she was looking around, looking at all these suspicious people. I thought she knew what he looked like because I thought because they looked up his record, they would have had like a photo of him. But I guess not. She pulls
He
off,
is concealing his face with the hood.
yeah, but she's looking at some other rough looking guy, thinking, is that Frankie? But also, she didn't say anything, right? She's just looking at people with their
Yeah.
hands up. She doesn't say, we're looking for Frankie. I don't remember his last name. But I thought she would have said something, so that the people on the bus would be a little maybe relieved. Oh, it's not me.
Right.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
But she pulls the hood off of someone, and it's someone wearing. I mean, the makeup is. Was he trying to look like Haley's? Like,
Yeah, because he kind of looked like her when she was hanging upside down.
yeah, with the red lipstick all smeared all over her face. So I was confused by that because how would he have known that, right?
Yeah, and I mean,
And
like,
then later in
he's
interrogation, it's not on his face anymore. It's gone.
yeah, it just seems like he's like we're supposed to get the idea that he's not well. He is mentally unwell.
And yet when they talked to him, he seemed just kind of like a slightly unhinged fan. He didn't I think it was just done for dramatic effect before the intro plays. But yeah, the contrast between the two scenes was really weird for me.
Yeah.
Because on the bus, he's like super creepy Joker style stalker kind of vibe, and Beckett looks really creeped out. But when they get to the interrogation room, he's got none of the makeup on. He just has hair like Haley, and he's just kind of like jittery and nervous, which is understandable given he's at a police station.
Right.
But he insists that I like how I said he's only slightly unhinged. He insists that Haley was his soulmate. Okay, maybe he's fully unhinged.
Yeah. I would say fully unhinged.
Yeah, yeah. But he tells them because this is the guy that Haley had taken out a restraining order against him, and so he says that his alibi was that he was at home listening to her final song. She gave a performance and revealed a secret brand new song, and he says that it's already gone viral, and then he admits that despite the restraining order, he had followed her and he saw her arguing with her guitarist Zach, and that he threatened to kill her. So from here, Espel brings up Zach's record. He's got a lot of things on his record, including domestic abuse, and that Haley tried to file a report at another station on the day she went missing, and she asked to speak to a detective. But then by the time they got to her, she had already left. So that's a hanging thread that comes back later. But
Hmm.
they head to a warehouse to talk to Zach, and his alibi was that he was at a gig at a Sweet 16 party. Which I kind of felt bad for the guy, but I don't know. He seemed like he was kind of an ass too. So
Well, also too, his whole like she ruined us because she went solo, but like, doesn't a solo artist still need a guitarist?
yeah, I don't know. But he tells him that their fight was because she found out that they were holding auditions for her replacement, and that her producers had him served with a cease and desist. I like this. He says a cease and resist, and Castle has to correct him.
I mean, cease and resist with how some people operate. I think that might be more accurate, actually.
That was cute though. That was a nice. I like that little writing touch. But he tells him that they all helped make the blue pill successful, but because Haley owned the band name and she went when she went solo, she took the band with her, so she was holding that, and they couldn't use it. So but at the morgue, Perlmutter is calling security because when they arrive, Sky is inside. She's drunk and she's yelling at Haley's body, and she's got a knife in her hand too. And so, but when she learns that Beckett is a cop, she gives up the booze and the knife, and then she tells her that she might have killed her sister.
Yeah. I found this particular scene to be very effective, and spoiler alert, jumping ahead, it is my favorite scene of the episode.
Hmm.
Um, because I just found this to be really effective, especially when Haley asked Beckett, "Am I breaking the law?" Like a lot, and you can just tell that she's just really hurting, and I think that comes. It's very, very effective here.
Hmm.
Or I said Haley, but I meant Sky.
So she tells them that Haley was looking for her to tell her something, and that Haley had told her that she could come back to the band, but only if she got clean. So this tracks with what we heard earlier about how when she got out of rehab, she wanted to save her sister. She also says that Haley was a hypocrite because she saw her handing a wad of cash to Sky's drug dealer, Tony. And then Castle is mulling things over out loud, and Beckett looks really confused because her mother tells her that he found no drugs in Haley's system, so she was actually clean. So, despite what everybody's been saying about Haley being back on drugs, she wasn't. So, they bring Tony in, and he confirms that, yeah, she wasn't buying drugs, she was trying to buy a gun. And he says that she was scared of someone. Beckett calls Perlmutter again and confirms that there was gunshot residue on her. And so is that like something that they check for all the time, or is that something that a detective has to order, you think?
I don't really know, but I do know that there could be false positives for gunpowder residue, and so I don't even know if that's one of the things that they still do.
Then
I don't know.
can you match residue, or is it just all the same? Because I think later they say that they matched the gunpowder residue on the killer, and I was just like, is that a thing? Because I was just like, that kind of sounds like matching flour from a you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I mean, I think it's one of those like TV CSI things.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't
Okay.
think it's a real thing.
I was squinting a bit
Sounds
at
good,
that.
doesn't it? Doesn't it sound good and neat for our
it
fiction and our
it
to wrap
does.
our
It
thoughts up? Yeah.
does. I'm gonna have to pay attention to that more in Law and Order.
Oh, it's the worst. They make stuff up all the time.
Beckett reminds Castle that they had surmised that Haley wasn't killed at the scene, and she was just staged there. So she runs through a scenario, and by the time she gets to the end, she's like, "Oh my god, this is ridiculous!" And Castle makes a joke that maybe Alexis did it because she has no alibi. And I liked this little banter between them because Beckett's like, "Well, why don't you go home and question her, and
Yeah.
call me when she breaks."
Yeah, it's very much like, okay, well, you go do that and get out of my face right now.
So Casa goes home and he asks Alexis, "If you killed someone, you'd tell me, right?" And she says, "Yeah, I need help hiding the body."
Which, I mean, in her case, that would be accurate. Like, I think
Yeah.
Castle would definitely help
Oh
Alexis hide a
yeah,
body.
he would totally do it. And he would bunkle up 10 steps along the way, but it would be pretty funny. But she not that hiding a body is funny or anything, just the whole idea of Castle just bungling his way through something like that just amazes
Yeah,
me.
I kind of picture it as like that one episode of Bones where they kidnap the body from the wake. That's kind of how I picture Castle hiding a body. It's just a series of comedic errors.
I've only seen Bones once through, so I don't remember because there were so many Bones episodes. So
Yeah, and it's one of those that's kind of stuck. It's in season 4. I think it's episode 22, 20. It's towards the end of season 4, and season 4 is really long, and it's also not
mm.
the best season. So it's one of those where it's pretty funny, but it's kind of stuck way down deep in there, and it's not one that I think is, if that makes, I don't know if I'm making sense, but like it's not one that is super flashy and gets a lot of attention. But there is an episode where they steal a body because Brennan suspects there's murder, and so they steal the body to like run these tests and everything, and it's a series of comedic errors.
But Alexis asks if he really did get to meet the rest of the band. He's like, "Yeah, and admire them from afar." Because yeah, he got to meet Sky, who is waving a knife and a bottle of whiskey around at the morgue, and he also met Zach, who's a domestic abuser and a real jerk. But Alexis is listening to Haley's song, and this plays throughout the episode because it's really important for cracking the case. But Martha complains that she hasn't stopped listening to it, so she's kind of sick of it. And Castle says it's a nice song, but kind of creepy. And Alexis, I don't know if they say what the song title is, but I mean, we chose "Death She Grows Near" because that's the lyric that that's one of the more memorable for our episode title because that's one of the more memorable parts of the song. But Alexis explains that she doesn't think that she means death, and that Haley was into all kinds of spiritual things like tarot, and that in tarot, the death card doesn't mean death, it means change. And
Mhm.
right then, Alexis gets a notification for the Blue Pill website and she checks and says that there's rumors that the Blue Pill is getting back together. And that's where they meant. So, one of the comments mentions John McGinnis management. And Alexis explains that's her old manager and that he's supposedly the one that got her hooked on drugs.
I like Alexis's role in this episode a lot, as because she's super involved in the case. But
Yeah.
then I also kind of question the wisdom of like getting all the leads from a fan, like
Yeah.
someone who's been on the blogs and like just because like yeah, fans might have a lot of information, but like
Well,
what do they actually
that's what I
know?
mean. What I meant earlier, though, is that she offers all this quick information, and then they can go and verify it instead of having to go through like everything and then pick out what they think might be important. She can hone in on like things that might be relevant very quickly. So,
Yeah, but I mean,
but they still have to do their own police work, right? So,
right, it's good in the episode, but it just seems like a super convenient plot device.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, it works too because I like it as a fan myself. I like that this fan is contributing.
Because it's like, I mean, realistically, if you think about like you can be a fan and like have a lot of interest and knowledge about someone like from afar, but most fans don't have like the actual here's what happened. Like we just have the bird's eye view, right? So like for example, Alexis knows that Haley has a drug problem. It's heroin. But like the details and all of that, like most fans don't know that. Like you don't have that sort of like insight.
So, do you think they were like, what was Taylor Swift mega popular around this time? Was she?
No,
No.
not yet.
Okay.
No. I mean, someone's going to listen to this and be like, Taylor Swift's always been really popular. What are you talking about? She was not. She was around. Like, she had at this point 2 albums out. Pretty sure it was just 2. She was still mostly country at this point. Because her third album is really when country radio kind of was like, we're not going to play her anymore because she's pop. But she was still mostly country at this point and not the megastar that she is today. So I don't know. This would be I mean, Britney Spears, this is when she was, having her mental health crisis. And I'm trying to think like who was really popular, like Katy Perry. No, not Katy Perry yet. That was 2010. Um I'm like drawing a blank right now about like who could have been the like super popular pop star or band.
That they're alluding to, kind of thing.
Yeah, in 2009. I don't really know. I don't remember because everything I'm thinking about is like 2010.
So they bring in John McGinnis, and he's really icky. He talks about how she left him just before he could get the payoff for discovering her, and he's really smug about how he made her into the next Gwen Stefani. And then when they talk, I don't know if it's Kate or if it's Castle. One of them makes a snide remark that, oh, her death will. But he basically makes a joke that her death is going to sell them a lot of tickets because when Beckett threatens to arrest him, he's like, please, I would love the publicity. It's like, ew.
Yeah, one of those any publicity is good publicity type people.
So they go outside, and Ryan had checked his phone records and learns that he had talked to Zach the day before the murder, which Beckett finds a little. She thinks that's a red flag because he doesn't represent him anymore. So why would he be calling him? So they go back to Zach and they hear Zach and Sky fighting. And Beckett takes Sky away, and then they talk to Zach, and he tells them that McGinnis is his manager again, and that he had a plan to get the name back from Haley, and that involved like finessing Sky to get her to convince Haley to give them the name back, and that he saw her the day that she was killed. She was ignoring her phone, but it kept ringing, and that the she had put the person in her phone who was calling, and she had named them Death, and that creeped him out. So is this Ian that is calling her?
I I'm not really sure.
I think it's supposed to be Bree, right? Because of the song lyrics, she grows near. So that because that's why they end up honing in on Bree instead of Ian, right? Because of
Yeah,
the
I think that's a
lyrics.
I think it's a misdirect because like yeah, I think that might be a misdirect or like at least in how they're gendering death.
So Kate suspects Bree Bush, the female producer, and Ryan checks her credit cards and find that there was a transaction only 3 blocks from the crime scene. And then Espo gets everything is so sped up in this case. Everything happens so fast because Esposito gets a receipt from the store, and she bought the same red lipstick at that store, and so they go back to Bree, and she admits that she saw Haley and that Haley was trying to get some of her things back. So she basically says that she lured her to come see her by like she was going to be the one to return the things, but she didn't tell her that. And then she confronts her and tells her she can't have her stuff back unless she tells her what's going on. And then she admits that she had put so much money into Haley, and so if she had left, she would have left her. She would have lost her studio. So that gives us motive. And then she admits that she offered Haley drugs, but instead of taking her up on her offer, because she had assumed that Haley was back on drugs, but she wasn't.
Mhm.
She says that Haley pulled a gun on her and says she'd rather take a bullet to the head than do drugs again. And so this part I did not like because while they're standing in the studio, Castle notices something on the back wall, and he's like, "When did this piece of wood get replaced?" She's like, and it's like he pulls it out, and oh, there's a piece of tape on the wall. He pulls it off, and there's like a bullet hole. And I was just like, what? It's just strained my suspension of disbelief so hard. I was just like, wait. So he sees this brand new piece of wood and thinks, that's fishy. Because, I mean, would why would that be suspicious at all?
Plot device.
It's just, uh, I thought it was too convenient. I had a hard time with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the things about this episode is I mean, every episode uses plot devices. Don't get me wrong, that's just a part of fiction. But the plot devices are just very, very obvious.
Yeah. So at the station, they've brought in both of the Breeze, and in hindsight, I found this really gross of the husband because he's like begging her and saying he can't lose her, and it's like he's letting her take the fall. Like Montgomery is basically saying to Castle that it's a done deal. Like she's gonna go to prison for 20 years for this crime because she's not admitting to anything or something like that, right? So
I mean, he's a coward and a rapist. So, are we surprised?
I was surprised that they had no lawyer with them.
Yeah.
Outside, Castle is walking around. He looks a little distracted, and Beckett approaches him. He says he can't stop thinking about Sky out there all alone, so they go out and they look for her together. And I guess Zach directs them to the warehouse, and they find her and think that she's like shaking and everything, and they think that she's back on drugs. But it turns out that despite getting a signing bonus from the guy McGinnis, she didn't take anything, and she shows Beckett the money still in her hand, so she's actually shaking from withdrawal. So
Mm.
they help her up and they take her somewhere. But and then back at home, Alexis asks Castle if Sky is going to be okay, and they talk about things. Castle's going to go to bed, and Alexis is still listening to the song on repeat, which I guess is why Martha's not in the room.
I mean, don't like, have you ever done that? Because I have. Like, just listen to the
Yeah,
same song on repeat. And yeah,
yeah.
I'm sure everybody else is annoyed about it, but not me.
Yeah, I mean, there's just some songs that you latch on to, right? Like, and you
Right.
just don't get tired of it until finally you do, but it takes a while sometimes, right?
It does.
You gotta get it out of your system. Castle pauses because when a certain line comes up, he listens to it and it takes on a different context. The line is his darkness weighs on me at night. And so after listening to more of the lyrics, they both realized that Haley was singing about sexual assault.
Yeah, and that in particular, it looks like maybe Ian Bush because the song indicates it's like a father figure.
Yeah, yeah,
And so, yeah, like I did appreciate Alexis's story in this particular episode because what's happening here is kind of like the death, like the first death of a hero or an idol that you experience, or and maybe not even the first one, but like, and this is Alexis's first one, it seems. But like, when someone whose work you really appreciate when they die and you're just like in this level of shock, and so you're like just stuck in their media, right? So like for example, Anthony Stewart Head passed away yesterday, and I know you've never seen Buffy, and this is not me dragging you for not seeing Buffy, but he played a really important character in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He was in Ted Lasso and so many other things that, a lot of people listening to this podcast have watched. But like, even though that's not like the first, celebrity or person I idolized that died, it still makes you go, aw, and you want to go and like kind of spend that time with them.
yeah. I remember being super, super sad about Chadwick Boseman.
Mm, hmm.
His one hit kind of hard, but I think my first one was an astronaut.
Oh,
I think I've told this story before. I don't know if it was on the podcast, but there was this back in the I don't remember. It was on a Challenger.
that's what I was going to ask. Was this the Challenger?
Yeah, yeah. So his name was Ellison Onizuka. He was this Japanese astronaut from my island. He was from Kailua Kona, Hawaii, and so he was kind of like a local hero. And he had come to my elementary school before he was going to go on the mission, and that I was really looking forward to it. And then I got sick before the assembly where he met all the kids, and I got sent home because I threw up, and so I didn't get to see him. And then and then we all watched him blow up in the sky during the launch. It was so upsetting. That's the first one I remember. So
That had to be pretty upsetting to watch live. Because I mean, like people are watching it.
yeah, I don't remember watching it live, but I just remember being super sad afterwards.
Um, yeah, I can only imagine. My first one, or like idol or hero who died, was Aaliyah, the singer. She died. It was in 2001. It was
Mm,
like a helicopter crash. Yeah, helicopter crash. Just really sad. And I think it's one of those things too. And maybe you connect with this in your story. But like when people are young and you look up to them and they're doing these really cool things, you don't expect that they're just going to up and die. And I think you mentioned
yeah,
Chadwick Boseman, and my first reaction to his death was like, "Oh my gosh, like what was it? Was there drugs involved? Like what was going on?" And it's like, "No, he had cancer." And
colon
it's like, "Wow,
cancer. Yeah.
you don't expect someone in their early 40s to have colon cancer and die from it, you
Plus,
know?"
there
And
was no
so,
news about it beforehand too. It's just like, oh, he's dead, and it's like,
right,
what? You know?
right. And so
Ah,
like when people suddenly die like that, you're just like, "What's going on?"
yeah,
And especially when they're young and you expect that there's like so much life ahead of you. And it just, goes to show that we don't always know, how long someone's life's going to be,
yeah,
even if they are someone who we idolize.
yeah. And actually, I looked it up. So the Challenger thing, Ellison Onizuka died when I was 6, so I was very, very young. I would say like first grade. But when I was older, like when I have more of a developed brain and I have like a more attachment to celebrities and things like that, the first one that I remember being really upset by was the death of River Phoenix.
Hmm.
I don't know if people nowadays remember him, but he was an actor and he died of a drug overdose at a nightclub outside of a nightclub in LA. And I was really into his movies. I thought he was so handsome. And then he was just dead one day, you know? So, and it's like, I think back then, I think he died in like 1991 or something like that, or 1993. So back then, there wasn't really the internet. It wasn't really popular. So you learned about these things in like newspapers and magazines. And so it hit the entertainment magazines like, I don't know, like a week after, because I think there were weekly magazines like People and Entertainment Weekly.
Well,
But
they had the show, so it would have been on hard copy. And like so it would have been
oh,
like
yeah,
you
yeah,
would have
yeah.
known the day it happened, but it wouldn't have been like at we kind of get minute by minute now, and I think we've
Yeah.
gotten used to that, but like hard copy, Entertainment Tonight, I'm pretty sure was
Entertainment
on by
Tonight.
then.
Yeah.
So like there were these like TV outlets. And
But
actually,
once the show aired, that was basically it. You know, it wasn't like you could keep the TV on and keep like constant coverage of the situation or what's going on and hear
right.
about other what other people think. Like all these things happened much slower. Like you had to
Mhm.
read about it later and things like that. So I don't know.
If you've ever seen the movie I, Tanya, they kind of get into this. It's about Tanya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan in the
Yeah.
'94 Olympics, or not Olympics, but the World Championships. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because part of the movie gets into the start of the 24-hour news cycle.
Uh
Because prior to then, like this is one of the first big things that happens that falls into the 24-hour news cycle where there's just constant coverage of this and it's like big drama because you're right, like prior to this, like prior to 24-hour news, like you would hear about it and people might know it happened, but it wouldn't have been like blow by
breaking
blow.
news. Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing
Yeah,
like the OJ Simpson,
there
right?
were
Like,
no like Twitter updates or things like that. So
yeah.
like you would read an article about it in a magazine, and once you got to the end, that was it. You know, that was the end of the stuff until the next thing came out. So
And realistically, not everybody bought those magazines, right? Like that's the kind
yeah,
of stuff you'd pick up
yeah,
and read while you were waiting to check out at the grocery
at the
store.
grocery store.
Yeah, like you might buy it or you might just read it while you're waiting. And so like it's not something that, again, like if I were to switch over to Threads or Twitter right now, I could just type in like somebody's name and see what's going on with them today.
Yeah, it's crazy. The world was so different back then.
30 years ago.
So, all right, let's get back to the episode. So I'm like becoming like you're infecting me.
See, I was being good today. You're the one who's getting us off topic, okay?
Okay, so at the station, Castle plays a song for Beckett again, and she understands what's going on. So next we go to they're like doing some kind of like um trickery. What would you call it?
It's like a bait
Like
and switch.
yeah, I mean, and I felt pretty bad for the wife because they're obviously doing this for dramatic effect. Like they could just arrest him right there, but instead they're like, "Oh, we're gonna let you go, and we're gonna play this song, and we're gonna watch your husband like confess right in front of you." You know, instead of like doing things a little bit more conventionally. But they played a song, and Castle is really leaning hard on this guy. He's like talking about, "Oh yes, it's very telling. Talks about betrayal and a father figure, and this poor wife, she's just like clueless. She's like, "Oh, Ian, did she tell you about this assault?" And it's like, "Oh God, this poor woman."
Mm-hmm. I mean, is it really this poor woman, or is she just like either she's super naive or she just wanted to be ignorant?
I don't know. But we learned that after she had her fight with Haley, she went home and she told her husband about it. Then she took a sleeping pill, went to bed, and then her husband, the horrible, horrible person. We've been talking about horrible, horrible people on this show, but this rapist slash record producer slash murderer, he takes his wife's cell phone, takes her lipstick, and he acts. I don't. They don't say if it's accidentally or anything, right? But he basically kills her, and I guess Haley had gotten that gun to protect herself from him, and they don't go into the bullet hole, right?
Mm-mm.
But
No, it's to me, it's not really clear exactly what happened here. Because even Castle's like, you killed her. You basically killed her. And I'm like, so did he actually kill her, or did? So that part was a little hazy for me.
yeah, And he lawyers up too, so we don't actually get to hear like a actual confession. He basically just says that, well, she was gonna ruin my marriage, she was gonna ruin my business, and blah blah blah. And then he lawyers up, and I don't know, like it just made that whole finding the bullet hole scene even more frustrating because it's like, what was the gun and what was the fired bullet for? Is that relevant?
Or the gunpowder residue piece of that, like, oh, she
Yeah.
fired at him and then he like scared her and she fell off the railing. Like it's not real.
It doesn't prove anything about him killing her, right? Because she didn't die
No.
from a gunshot wound, she died from a broken neck. So I don't know. I feel like if they wanted to have more plausibility, it should have been that she died from the gunshot.
Mhm.
Because they just gloss over it. They don't confirm anything. But
Right, and they still use the gunpowder residue as like it's a big deal.
yeah, yeah. Because basically afterward, they're explaining everything to Montgomery, and there's a match, and Montgomery tells him, "Oh, nice job, you two." And then Beckett asks Castle, "Oh, what are you going to tell Alexis?" And he says he's going to tell her what he always tells her, the truth. And then the episode ends at a tribute concert, and it's got to be like I said, this episode is so hyper accelerated. Everything's happening so fast. Like
Mhm.
they catch the guy Ian after he lawyers up, and then right away they're like, oh, and she's filed for divorce. And I was just like, really? That afternoon? Because you're still wearing the same clothes.
Yeah, but that always happens, right? Because like truthfully, how quickly did they solve this case? In like 2 days?
Yeah, yeah. There's only like one wardrobe change.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they go to a tribute concert, and Sky looks totally clean, and she's singing Haley's viral song, and they're all watching it. And it was a cute moment. I liked
Yeah.
it. It was a nice way to wrap it up.
Because I mean, realistically, Sky would still be in withdrawal at this point.
Yeah, yeah, she'd be in rehab. So that's why I said that. Oh, this must be like much later. To me, it would be like a few months later or something.
Right. And I mean, like, I guess not because it's not that I'm poo pooing the show because this happens on every procedural where it's like, how did you solve this in 48 hours, basically?
Yeah,
I mean, that having something that or having a 42-minute episode, you are from start to finish solving one case. And so, yeah, we're not talking weeks passing. It's usually just like a matter of a day or two, if that much.
yeah. At least on Law and Order, they do kind of still throw in things where it's like they'll say like, "Oh yeah, 2 weeks ago or last month or something." They'll throw in like some little time stretches in there sometimes. So I appreciate
They
that.
they do, and I actually appreciate that because I remember the original Law and Order. They used to also do that too, where they would show you the month and the day,
Yeah,
like, and
yeah,
so they would tell you when things are happening. And so you do see that there is because the original Law and Order, not SVU, they did half the episode was police work
yeah, and then
investigation
half court.
and half court. And so when you got to the court half of the show, you would always see that it's like 2 or 3 months later. It's
Mm-hmm.
not like tomorrow.
Yeah,
Um, and so yeah, like I do appreciate that, and I know what you're talking about with SVU because they do that sometimes where it's like 2 weeks later or whatever, and so that they show you that time has
time
passed.
has passed. Yeah, it's a small thing, but I do appreciate it.
It gives it a bit of realism though, right?
Yeah,
Because it's
yeah,
like you solved this in 48 hours. This girl got clean in 24 hours, and all of this happened when realistically we're talking about things being drawn out over months.
yeah, yeah. All right, let's get to a rewatch checklist. Beckett's hair watch. I still don't like her hair, and I looked at all the thumbnails going forward, and she's gonna have this hair for a while. So I'm gonna have to, I'm gonna have to
Well,
endure this.
we're approaching her first set of extensions, Crystal.
Okay,
Like we're
okay.
getting there, okay?
All right, pop culture references. There are quite a few. There was Final Destination. What part was that?
That's what the death part, the line,
Oh yeah,
the
yeah,
episode tag.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then the Obama one thrown in. I feel like that would go over a lot of people's heads, but it had to do with Obama's campaign slogan, right?
Hope. Yeah.
Or wasn't it? Well,
It,
he
wasn't
was
it
he was making a joke about change, though, right?
Was it hope or change? It was like it was one of the things like it was he either said, and I can't remember, but you're right, it is a slogan. I think you're right, it is change. He doesn't like change. Oh, so he doesn't like Obama, I think is what it was.
His campaign slogan was "Change we can believe in," so that must be what he's referring to.
Yeah, and so and this was in 2009. So this would have been like after this would have been during the first year of Obama's
Mm.
term, first term.
And then there's a mention of the Beatles, and Martha talks about trying to decode the lyrics of a record backwards. And
Yeah,
what was she talking about to determine if Paul McCartney was really dead? I thought I've heard that thing about playing records backwards, but I don't think I knew it was about Paul McCartney.
so with this one it was like because that's what she was saying was like we would her and her friend would play the record backward to try to decode it and see if he was really dead. So with this one it was, but like I don't know, like I think that's something of like or some old superstition about listening to a record backward to like find messages.
No, but like really dead kind of implies that he's not dead or is dead, but he's not dead. Isn't he still alive right now?
I think so. Did she say Paul McCartney? Am I getting this wrong
I
or am I
thought
thinking
she
of
s-
John Lennon?
I
Wait,
thought she
hold on.
said Paul McCartney in the episode.
I thought she did too.
But
Is there like
so,
some
so that would be a mistake because, like I said, I just googled it. Paul McCartney is still alive. So,
I get him and John Lennon confused all the time. I know John Lennon's dead.
no, but yeah, I know that too. But I feel like,
Okay, so I'm looking. I have this right here. There's a whole theory that he died in the 60s.
oh, okay. so, so he's alive, but she was trying to determine if that's why she says really dead. Okay.
Yeah, like so. I guess there's. Oh God, I'm trying to stop. I have to stop. I have to pause my ad block on this site. Yeah, so there was apparently there was a theory that Paul McCartney had actually died in the 1960s and was replaced by a lookalike.
Okay.
So it's kind of like the Mandalorian theories where they're like Pedro Pascal doesn't really play the Mandalorian. I don't know if you've heard those theories, but like there's like this whole thing. So yeah, like apparently there was a theory in the 1960s that he had actually died and been replaced.
Ah, interesting.
Back on topic, there's also a Van Halen Hot for Teacher reference and a couple others. I know the Gwen Stefani one,
Yeah, yeah.
um, making her into a Gwen Stefani, who I guess was pretty popular as a solo artist at this time. It wasn't her No Doubt days, but like she was more popular as a solo artist at the time. And then he also referenced Haley as a third rate Miley
Third
Cyrus.
rate Miley Cyrus. Yeah.
Yeah. Who hadn't quite, this is before she quote unquote went wild, I think, or maybe around the time where she started to go wild, quote unquote, around the wild, because she had just turned, I think, 18 or 19 at this point.
That young? Wow.
Yeah. Because she was on the Disney Channel. She's
Yeah.
obviously
Hannah
Hannah
Montana.
Montana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, author's notes. The only thing I have written down is the Blue Pill songs were actually sung by a woman named Anna Waronker. She's the front woman for a band called That Dog, and she's also composed songs for Dawson's Creek and Josie and the Pussycats. I
Hmm.
really liked her voice. The songs that she did were really good.
Yeah. I mean, I like the songs too, and I like that they were able to get those in here.
Casket Corner, I put down a couple things. There was some one little scene where they're confused over what they've learned, and then Beckett just takes a container of candy and places it in between them, and then they both take some, and then they just sit there thinking. I thought that was really cute. It was a small
Mhm.
little detail. And also, there was the scene where Beckett compliments him on how he looks as a father before he
Yeah.
ruins it by saying, it makes me, what did he say? He says, it makes you want me more, right?"
Yes, Castle. All women, that's all we think about all the time is like, wow, what kind of father would he make? My number one thought, what kind of father would he make?
Okay, bestseller list. My favorite scene and my favorite line is from the same one. It's the one with Esposito when he says bitch. I just that was just so funny for me. I love Esposito. So
And I mean, like, to support that, I will say I felt early on in the episode there were a lot of good one liners. because you could easily just pick like a good line from like the first like 10 minutes of the episode.
Yeah.
So it was really, really witty writing early on. My favorite scene was the scene with Beckett and Sky when Sky is in the morgue.
Hmm.
And then my favorite line was Castle to Beckett when he says, I know you thought that sounded smart when you started that sentence.
And actually, I didn't mention this, but there's a scene in this episode that I think makes it into the intro montage later. He says, "Do I look like a killer to you?" And she says, "Yes, you kill my patients." Because I feel
Yes.
like that comes back and we see it over and over. So I think that. And then talking about one-liners, there's another one where Beckett tells Zach not to leave town, and Castle goes, "And feel free to bathe."
I mean, yeah, it's good. Please bathe.
I like that one. All right, let's take a quick break and we're going to come back with a new Beckett's interrogation. Alrighty, we're back with a new Beckett's interrogation. The way this works is I'm going to ask Neoshia 6 questions about the episode we just discussed, and you'll have 5 seconds to come up with the answer. Are you
All
ready?
right. I'm ready.
Okay. Haley's hair is blue and blonde. What color is Sky's hair?
Okay. This is going to get into a splitting hair. I think it's dark brown and blue, or you could argue it's black and blue.
Okay, I'll go with we can go with you, but it's basically her hair is brunette with blue streaks. So, question 2: Whose death had Castle in his room for a week?
Mm. Mm. I want to say John Lennon, but that's
It
not
was
right.
John Lennon. It
Was
was.
it? Was that why I
Yeah,
had John Lennon on the mind?
yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Okay, question 3: What was the name of the song that was playing on repeat at the crime scene on Haley's iPod?
Here, kitty, kitty.
Yeah, very good. All right, question 4: What instrument did Haley play at her final performance?
Guitar.
Yep. Ooh, you're doing really good. 4 for 4. But here are my 2 hard questions.
All right.
What was the color lipstick on Haley's body?
Red.
Okay, but what kind of red?
Mm, candy apple red.
It was lava red.
All right.
Okay, final question. What website did Alexis learn about Haley's death on?
Mm, two. I want to say IMDb. Let's just go with that.
No,
I
it
don't
was Gawker.
Gawker. Okay.
Which actually was a real website before. I used to use Food Gawker a lot.
Yeah.
It's just still around. I looked it up. There's still Food Gawker.
Okay.
Alrighty. Any last thoughts?
No, not other than we were really on a roll with that quiz, were we not?
I know we were very good. But yeah, like I said earlier, this is one of the more memorable episodes to me. But I really don't like the thumbnail. It's like the whole smeared lipstick, and her body. I just makes me uncomfortable. Because I mean, if you think about how her lipstick had to get like that, that icky Ian guy had to like smear it all over her and then smash her lips, and it just feels extra disrespectful. Just because he got to stage her body like that to like try to get away with it, and it just feels really awful, like
Mm-hmm.
awful on top of awful already. So if you're enjoying Rom-Com Detectives, we hope you'll consider taking a minute to leave us a rating or review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. For our question of the week, leave us a comment on Spotify, YouTube, or Reddit and tell us who was the first person Who was the first celebrity death that hit you really hard? If you'd like to join additional conversations about Castle, you can visit the Castle subreddit at reddit.com/r/CastleTV. To contact me and Neoshia, email us at host@romcomdetectives.com. Follow us on Instagram, Threads, or Blue Sky at romcomdetectives, or leave us a voicemail or text message at 1-650-733-XOXO or 9696. This episode of Rom-Com Detectives was recorded on June 6, 2026. Rom-Com Detectives Castle Unit is co-hosted by Crystal Watanabe and Neoshia Roemer and is produced by Pico's House. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll catch you guys next time for our breakdown of 208 Kill the Messenger. Bye.
Bye, everyone.